Live from KTUL, you're watching Tulsa's Channel 8 News at 6.
And we begin with breaking news near 71st and Riverside. That's where a baby has been found unresponsive inside a car following a police pursuit.
Channel 8's Bert Mumlo is live at the scene. And Bert, what happened?
Kristen, this is where the high-speed pursuit ended in the parking lot here at China King, just off 71st and Riverside. Started a few miles away on Elwood Street, where a police officer noticed a black car going twice the speed limit. When the police car whipped around to engage pursuit, the car took off even faster and made its way here. Now, the driver of that car apparently thought he was far enough ahead of the police that when he screeched in here, parked right next to another gentleman who was waiting for somebody for lunch. That gentleman says he saw the brakes literally smoking. The guy got out of his car then and started walking towards the front door here. The witness says he was acting fidgety. And when police pulled in, he tried to pretend as if he wasn't the driver, saying, no, the driver of that car took off that way, trying to throw off the cops. But the witness said, no, that's your guy. And they immediately arrested him. Then, when police went to the car in the back, they made a heartbreaking discovery. An infant, roughly 6 months old, on the floorboard of the seat. That during that whole high-speed pursuit, it had been unsecured. The baby was in rough shape. Police called EMSA, but then decided, you know what? We need to take this kid right now to the hospital. They put the baby in the cruiser and headed off to the hospital. Police also confiscated a gun from the vehicle. Reporting live, Bert Mumlo, Tulsa Channel 8.
Okay, thank you, Bert. And we'll let you know as soon as we find out that baby's condition. Meanwhile, another police pursuit, this time in West Tulsa, it ends with a crash.
It ended north of Highway 412 at 3300 West Edison late this afternoon. Channel 8's Caitlin Alexander is live at the scene to explain how all this got started. Caitlin.
Well, Mark and Kristen, it started when a car refused to pull over for a police officer. It began a chase that wound up here close to Central High School. You can see here along Edison, cars are free to drive to and fro now as they please. But that was not the case for about an hour and a half this afternoon. Here's where a police pursuit ended and a man wound up behind bars. Around 3:15, police tried to pull over a small white Lexus. Police say it looked like someone was trying to get through a sunroof. The car sped off and rear-ended this other car near 33rd and Edison. 2 women were in that car. An emergency crews took them to the hospital with non-serious injuries. As for the Lexus, police say it's registered as stolen from Texas. There was a man driving and a female passenger. Here you see crews transporting her for treatment. But as for the driver, arrested at the crash site and taken to jail.
Not sure on that. We're still trying to do some investigation out of Texas.
Now, police say they did find a BB gun inside that stolen vehicle, and there could be more to this investigation as they continue to work with Texas authorities. Live in West Tulsa, Caitlin Alexander, Tulsa's Channel 8.
It's been a wild day. Thanks, Caitlin. Also, top of the news tonight, the potential for winter weather here in Green Country.
A system north of here meant wet snow for parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin today. And that same Arctic air should collide with a western front, bringing snow, sleet, and even ice into town. Channel 8 has team coverage. Ethan Calloway is standing by live. But first, Chief Meteorologist Jennifer Zeppelin. Jennifer, what can we expect?
You know, we're going to see a drastic change, no doubt about it, once the storm system moves in. And right now it is sitting over central Kansas. So that Arctic air mass and Arctic cold front is just back to the north of us. Now we have a warm front that's draped over the central part of the state. That's what's going to allow the fog to develop once again tonight until that cold air mass moves in, which will be throughout the day tomorrow. And it's going to mean falling temperatures. Well, it's expected to be a dry day for us tomorrow. The moisture will be coming in by Thursday morning. We're looking at a wintry mix, which will continue even into Friday. Looking at sleet, freezing rain, ice, and yes, even snow. And there will be some accumulation of ice and snow across the area. I'll have more on the totals, but we do have winter storm watches already in effect for Thursday into Friday night for most of Green Country and central Oklahoma. So traveling will obviously become and go downhill very, very quickly as we go into the next 24 hours, especially early Thursday morning. And then all of this moisture becomes more widespread. Temperatures today, pretty incredible, feeling more like spring in the 50s, 60s, even some spots made it into the 70s. So the fog will keep developing after about 9 o'clock tonight, continue into the early morning hours. We'll see some sunshine tomorrow. As that front moves through, though, you're going to notice a pretty dramatic change as temperatures begin to fall. I'm going to show you just how much snow and ice we're expected to see in just a little bit.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Hard to believe it, almost 70 today, and it's going to be much colder coming up. All right. That winter weather could equal some major issues for Green Country drivers.
That means county and city workers are gearing up for a long week. Channel 8's Ethan Calloway has been with Tulsa County and the city today as they prepare. Ethan.
Well, guys, as that weather system makes its way closer to our area, Tulsa city and county officials say preparation is key, and they are more than prepared for whatever winter weather may come our way. The dump trucks and plows are ready for deployment, and the teams behind the process already in place. Winter weather can be a major undertaking for road crews, so being ready for anything they say is their job.
They're just fine-tuning a lot of the equipment, going through it, make sure that the lights work and there's not any minor issues.
Tim McCorkle is the street maintenance manager for the city. He says while it takes a lot to keep things moving during a storm, they are prepared with dozens of sand spreaders, snow plows, and literally tons of salt.
It takes about 170 people to run a 24-hour shift.
We've got about 25 different vehicles across the county that we use for treating the roads.
Chief Deputy County Commissioner Michael Willis says the county's scope is a little broader, responsible for keeping about 750 miles of roads and 200 bridges safe for drivers. Both city and county have some clear goals and warnings for drivers in winter weather.
We just want to make sure that, number one, emergency vehicles can make their way through neighborhoods and get to people who need help. And then secondarily, that people can just go about their normal business.
Do not drive, beyond the road conditions, because the accidents, that's also going to hinder our progress too, and plus you don't want anybody to get hurt.
And as that weather system moves through, drivers all over the area can rest assured there is a team working to keep them safe.
It's just a great effort throughout the city where everybody comes together to man all the equipment and make this happen.
And these guys say take the necessary precaution to be prepared for whatever the storm may bring. And first and foremost, if you don't have to be on the roads, just stay home. We're live in West Tulsa tonight. Ethan Calloway, Tulsa's Channel 8.
Ethan, thanks. With winter weather on the way, schools are putting plans in place to keep your kids safe. In Jenks, bus drivers will test the roads early Thursday. If the roads are clear, students will have class. Big challenge would come if the storm hit during the school day, and if the roads were truly impassable, buses wouldn't run at all. Parents would have to pick students up. Ahead of the storm, the cities of Wagner and Bonita have postponed their Christmas parades until next week. And there's word the Miami parade might be postponed as well. We'll be updating our list online of other closures and delays as the week goes on. Just go to K2L.com.
Police spent the afternoon searching the Fontana Shopping Center. They're looking for clues into a robbery and sexual assault. Police told Channel 8 that a female worker at the Agro Coffee Shop was assaulted around noon. The teenage suspect was armed with a pistol and also got away with some cash. Anyone with information should call Crime Stoppers 918-596-COPS. The police chief of Warner is home after shooting a suicidal man who had a knife.
When Chief Terry Thompson arrived, the man had already cut himself several times. Thompson tried to stop him with a taser but couldn't. Then the man tried to stab himself in the chest. Chief had no choice but to shoot him in the leg.
I hate it that anybody's got to go through a shooting. But he did save the man's life. I mean, based on everything they're telling me, and they used a taser. They used everything they had at their disposal.
The man is expected to survive. The DA is now reviewing this case.
A man who was shot in the back of the head while driving last month has passed away. Early November 22nd, Stephen Moran was driving near 53rd in Peoria and was struck by a bullet, then crashed into the corner cafe. He survived for a few weeks but passed away last night. The suspect drove a dark-colored SUV. Homicide detectives tell Channel 8 that Moran would search dumpsters for scrap metal, and that might have something to do with the shooting. They're also looking into whether drugs or road rage played a part.
Well, it turns out the Grinch who stole Christmas is doing some bad deeds right here in Tulsa, and he's been passing out funny money. Secret Service tells Channel 8 they've seen an uptick in counterfeit bills ever since Black Friday, and it's believed they're being made right here in Tulsa using a process called bleaching.
The term is bleaching, but they use chemical process to take the ink off of them, and then they reprint them with either a 20 or a 50 or 100 on top of that, and then they try to pass them off. And so when a clerk were to use the counterfeit pen on it, it's not going to react because it's genuine paper.
Fake money has been showing up in grocery stores, gas stations, and even church offering plates. Well, the Broken Arrow Tigers are looking for a new head football coach.
Yesterday, Coach Steve Spavital announced his resignation. Channel 8's Rick Pendergraph is here with the reason why. Rick?
It was a sad day today over in Broken Arrow, that's for sure. If you've ever had to stop doing something you love, you know just how hard it is to give up. Broken Arrow head football coach Steve Spavital is saying goodbye to a profession he's had for over 30 years. Health problems resulting from stress has forced him to make a very tough decision. Today, he thanked his administration, his fellow coaches, and the players he's coached over the years.
I've had the fortunate opportunity to work with just tremendous young men, tremendous, which have really, people say I've impacted their lives. They have impacted my life, and they always will, and I always hold that in a high regard.
Coach Spav will stay on with the Broken Arrow School District, and they're going to move him to a position to where he can help get some of the junior high athletic programs off the ground. Coming up a little bit later, we'll see what he says that his kids have taught him.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rick.
Thanks, Rick. Well, this weekend it's time to bundle up in your crimson and cream.
Or your orange and black,
Okay,
Mark.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Thousands of football fans will make the trek to Stillwater this weekend in the freezing cold for Bedlam. See how the folks at Boone Pickens Stadium are preparing for the big game.
And it's been a mild day today across the area, but this Arctic air mass that's back to the north of us is headed our way. I'll show you when it will arrive.
Welcome back. There's just no way around Saturday's expected cold weather for Bedlam and Stillwater.
Yeah, with snow and ice forecast this year, that's a far cry from last year's temperatures in the mid-50s. Channel 8's Yvonne Lewis reports from Stillwater as they prepare for both the big Bedlam matchup and the weather.
59,000 fans are expected for Bedlam on Saturday. Add to that the possibility of snow and ice, and there could be problems on these sidewalks and streets. OSU officials are meeting throughout the week to make plans if the campus is hit with several inches of snow and ice. It includes snow removal on sidewalks and parking lots around the stadium for Saturday's game. The weather makes it even more of a talker this week.
I just been here. It's going to get really cold and maybe a snowstorm, and just preparing for the worst, I guess.
The city will work to clear the heavily traveled streets, and residents will have to clear their steps. And Lowe's can help with that. They sell lots of ice melt.
If they're tailgating or whatever it may be, we don't want them slipping and falling on the ice and stuff, so we have the ice melt, and if it snows, we got snow shovels and everything.
Nothing will deter Bedlam fans from Stillwater, even bone-chilling temperatures.
Oh, everybody still shows up ready to go. I mean, it's a big deal no matter what. I've sat through games in the snow, and it's always still have a pretty good crowd.
While you may find the orange spirit at Lowe's, you won't find much orange power, as in orange snow shovels.
We like the orange here, but they don't supply us with that. Not too many other places do.
Like wiper fluid.
That's not for
any particular reason, no.
That's not for the Oklahoma State Cowboys?
No. Was that what there is, the orange? No.
OSU officials declined an on-camera interview, but they are encouraging everyone to visit their campus safety site for any updates. Reporting from Stillwater, Yvonne Lewis, Tulsa's Channel 8.
This is good to hear. Fans will be allowed to bring blankets to the game. The university also plans to use social media to keep Bedlam fans updated.
Now your forecast in the Oklahoma Ford Storm Center.
Well, this morning we started off with very dense fog across a large portion of green country. Fog lifted, and then we ended up seeing the sunshine returning, which actually allowed us to warm up nicely across the area. Keep in mind, though, the fog is going to reform tonight into early tomorrow morning, so that can make a concern, obviously, for the early morning drive to school and work. We're looking at a dry day tomorrow, even though that storm system is moving into central Kansas right now. The cold air will be arriving in the morning, so we're going to hit our afternoon highs earlier in the day, and then as this front moves to the south, that's when the cold Arctic air mass will be plunging southward into central Oklahoma and even down to the south, really gripping a large portion of the country. It's this little kicker back to the west of us, though. The upper level low that's hanging out over the Wasatch and the cold front that will be moving in on early Thursday morning, and that's when we're going to see our first round of moisture coming in our direction, which is going to mean an increased chance for wintry precipitation. And that's why the National Weather Service has already issued, even a couple of days out, a winter storm watch. It'll be in effect for the entire day on Thursday and really continue into Friday evening. We're talking most of green country, central Oklahoma, and even down to the south, that we're going to be impacted by this winter storm that is developing and heading in our direction. Temperature-wise today, after starting the day with 42, we bumped it up to 61 degrees. So still above the normals for this time of the year. Our normal high would be 53. Enjoy the warmth because it changes pretty drastically as we go into the next 24 hours. We're looking at those dew points of 48, and that's the reason why, with us already sitting in the mid-50s, about 10 degrees away from our dew points, that's why the fog will begin to develop, I'm thinking, after about 9, 10 o'clock tonight, and it could be thick once again in the early morning hours. Temperatures across the area starting to really drop off. Coffeyville 48, 45 Bartlesville. We have 61 in Chandler. So still holding on to some of the heat from the afternoon. Temperature wise for tomorrow, it's not going to be a dramatic change overall, but we are looking at a big cool down compared to today. Sitting in the 60s, I think highs tomorrow in the 50s. This is the cold air that's headed our way. Already 39 in Omaha. You have teens in Bismarck and even in Billings. That cold air mass is what is going to surge to the south and settle in here, not only for Wednesday, but it really is pretty much going to stick around for the next several days into the early part of next week as a series of storm systems keep pumping cold Arctic air in our direction. So afternoon highs for Thursday, probably only going to be in the upper 20s to near 30 degrees. So with us kind of hanging out right below freezing, that's why we're looking at more in the way of a freezing rain, sleet, and a switch over to snow coming our way. Here's that super cold air, though. As it settles in here Friday into Saturday, we are looking at morning low temperatures. Really the coldest part of this storm system coming in here Saturday morning. Lows in the single digits and teens, and the winds will be strong enough that we're looking at wind chill readings early Saturday morning sitting around sub-zero temperatures. Okay, how is this winter storm going to play out as we go into the next 24 to 48 hours? Dry day for tomorrow. The moisture moves in here. 7 a.m. Thursday becomes more widespread. We're looking at freezing rain and sleet with temperatures hovering just right around freezing. Notice that band of snow back to the west of us. The snow will start to creep in here around noon. We could be at switching over just a little bit, so we could go back and forth between some sleet and snow, and it will begin to add up. We see a break in the afternoon and evening for Thursday, and then our second round of moisture will be coming in, and the snow will hang around until around the mid-morning hours into Friday. Looking at accumulation, ice accumulations will be heaviest along Interstate 40 to the south. We're looking at a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch, so that could cause some power outages. Totals right now, I'm going with anywhere from around 3 to 6 over the metro, a little bit lighter to the south, and a little bit heavier back to the north. So overall, we know that this winter storm is headed our way, and the best chances for the wintry mix coming our way is going to be really Thursday into Friday. So we're looking at about a 24-hour stretch of a big mix of weather moving in our direction, really hanging out here for a long period of time. When you look at the cold air mass, 20s and 30s for highs and lows in the teens and 20s.
Burr. Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back.
Probably one of the toughest things after the game, you know, I think about every kid came up and told me they loved me. That means more than anything to me.
It was an emotional morning at Broken Arrow High School today as head football coach Steve Spavital talked about his decision to step down. He resigned for medical reasons. It's a stress-related issue, he says, isn't life-threatening, but it's keeping him from giving 100%. After 30 years of coaching, he's taught his players a lot of lessons. But how much has he learned from those young men?
It's hard to answer that question because I've learned so much from them. But they are fun. You know, they're exciting, they're fresh, you know, they make you feel young. They're just excited about success, you know, how they celebrate success. It's just, it's endless what I've learned from them.
Broken Arrow hopes to have a new coach by February. Coach Spav was in the state championship game just 2 years ago. This season it will be Jinx and Union for the 9th time. These two programs are the benchmark of high school football here in the state of Oklahoma. After watching Union win 4 straight 6A titles, Coach Alan Trimble's Trojans regained the gold ball last year for a 13th time. He says his seniors aren't ready to give it up.
It was tough. Union had come off 4 in a row, and it was a tough battle, and our kids, with great senior leadership a year ago, were able to battle through the playoffs and do it. And I know that this senior bunch, as big a roles as they've played, they certainly don't want to let that gold ball go away. So they'll fight hard, they'll be ready, and again, you throw the rivalry in the mix, and it just makes for a good game.
Union and Jinx is scheduled to take place Thursday night in Stillwater, but if the winter weather impedes that and we're not able to do it on Thursday, the OSSA has been talking to University of Tulsa about moving the game to Chapman Stadium. That would take place either Friday night or Saturday night.
All up to the weather.
That's right.
Yeah, there we go. Right?
It's going to get messy.
No
It is
pressure.
going to be a mess. Yeah, it's going to be a tough go, especially Thursday into Friday.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah. That's our news tonight. Thanks for watching. Wheel of Fortune up next.
Our coverage continues online at KTOL.com, then at 10 o'clock. We'll see you then.